Yeah, no redemption for you, Beastia. You suck through and through. And that's everything. Appalling, is it not? Morgana. If you hate me for what I did to her, you can take this sword and kill me with it. And you can have my key. I won't put up a fight. You have the right to exact punishment on me. Killing you would accomplish nothing. It is neither my place to forgive nor punish you. As much as it would make me feel better, doing so would serve no meaningful purpose. You know, his second life didn't really punish him. Like, he just lived the same life again, but kind of worse, though, because he killed more people. Didn't really seem too punished to me. I'd like to give you a little time, though. I need time to cool down enough that I can talk to you with a clear head. Of course. So you are still willing to speak with me? I gave you my word. I told you that I would help figure out what path you should take. You're an honorable man. I will not force your hand if you don't want to do this. You can tell me to leave, and I'll walk right out of the door. And I'll get on the floor. More than anger or hatred, I'm simply deeply pained. Maybe things would have turned out better if I were as sympathetic as man as you. People are supposed to be able to feel happy or sad for each other. I can't, though, which must make me a beast. Do 67. When you first met Morgana, you felt no desire to rescue her from the slave traders, did you not? You felt a desire. God, I can't read. You thought of someone other than yourself. I never saw that desire through, though. My thirst far overpowered anything I may have wanted to do for her. And the next time we met, I sold her to the Lord. As I said before, there's no room for interpretation in the things I have done. Whatever I might have wanted to do at one point, it's all meaningless now. Regardless, anything I do for someone else is ultimately for my own benefit. Because that's what I need. No matter how selfish your motivation may ultimately be, please let me believe some part of you does genuinely want to help her. Alright. I know I'll sound like a hypocrite for saying this, but sitting back and waiting for her to die is not what I want. When I cut off her arm, I didn't feel any of the thrill or euphoria that I usually do when I take my sword to someone. I can't say whether that means I had a conscience, but if but for a moment, or if I just wasn't myself at the time. If you can save her, though, please do. I can't do anything. If I try, I'll only make things worse. I cannot do everything on my own either. Give me your word that you will atone for Morgana for your actions. Well, I doubt making reparations will clear me of my crimes. If that is what you want me to do, then that is what I will do. Can I ask you something? What is it? Tell me more about my next life. I don't think you want that, bro. I want to know what kind of man I am. I want to know every mistake I make, all the details. I warn you, it's a tale far more barbaric than anything you can imagine. Do you still want to hear it? I do. I have little doubt that I will believe it. If you're worried I might react the way I did earlier, I'll lay down my sword. You can tie me up too if you want. That won't be necessary. Are you sure? I'm going to trust you. I'll tell you the whole hopelessly tragic truth. Everything I saw, with no embellishments. Please do. Is he gonna do what Door 2 did? And keep secret the fact that he was Pauline's lover and Pauline's lover was not the first merchant that he killed? Because that would be really mean if Michelle did that. And so, I told him the tale I witnessed beyond the second door. That he lost his memory in a shipwreck, that he was treated like a beast by the people in the land where he washed up, and that he massacred countless people. And that he took the life of his lover who had come in search of him, never wanting to believe that, never wavering in her belief that he was still alive. I told him about the white-haired girl. I told him about the things he made Giselle do. I didn't hide anything. As I spoke, he would occasionally grimace, or his eyes would go wide for a moment, but not once did he interrupt me. He sat there in silence until I finished. Is that his punishment? His learning about his next life? What he earned? You weren't kidding. That was far worse than I had imagined. It is the truth, though. You become the target of Morgana's loathing, and you are led back to this mansion. That is what lies in your future. As difficult as it may be to comprehend, that person is you. The man who does all those things hundreds of years from now is you. Ah. I really am a beast. Yeah, you are, my dude. Yeah, you are. A horrendously precarious creature. As I interpret it, when you lost your memory, you also lost everything you used to suppress your nature. You lost the foundation you had built, and as a result, you were no longer able to maintain that balance. Would that mean that what I am now is, comparatively speaking, human? No, I'm no different now. I have no more control over myself when I'm killing people than the man you described. You've seen me do reprehensible things. And in spite of that, you were never condescending or insulting, never acted disgusted or afraid of me. Are all angels as compassionate as you? I am not an angel. I was simply biting my tongue. Are you afraid of me then? I am not afraid of you, no. What are you then? I don't understand. Naruhodo Shanai. I am of the belief that now is not the appropriate time for me to allow my personal feelings to influence my actions. My task is to save Morgana. If I'm to be honest with you for a moment, I despise the man that you are in the future, but I'm also equally frustrated at myself. You're right. The things you did were inexcusable. You murdered innocents. You killed the woman who came searching for you. But on a personal level, what angers me the most is that you put blood on the hands of the woman I love. I know very well that, to you, it's something you haven't done yet. But it was still your soul. It tears me apart inside that I couldn't return in time to stop it. You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who wouldn't be angry to know someone they care about had received that kind of treatment. I suppose. If that's how you feel, though, aren't you interested in taking revenge on me? As I mentioned before, there are times when allowing your emotions to take the reins is the wrong course of action. This is one of those times. Seeking vengeance is the wrong thing for me to do right now. If I can eliminate Morgana's hatred, the 3 of your souls will be set free as well. So you're going to save me too? Yes, I am. I don't consider myself worthy of redemption, especially not after hearing about the things I will do. I'm a beast, through and through. 270. A twisted psychopathic monster. You were conflicted, though. You struggled against the creature that dwelled inside you. It's true that you found perverted joy in violence and murder, but you also felt kindness, which caused a part of you to seek peace. And the same can be said of you in this time as well. If you actually were nothing but a beast, or rather nothing but a man that derived pleasure from killing, maybe then I could have truly reviled you. As it is, I only kind of revile you. Only like 75% revulsion. Then you'd be irredeemable, no matter what had turned you into that. No matter how much pain and suffering had driven you to that point. But your instability, your constantly shifting desires, your mental frailty, all appear to me as very human traits. Tell me, how should I live my life from here on? What is it you want most? The easiest road for me would be the one I walk now, to continue being a killer. Well, don't do that, numbnuts! No fighting my desires, no restraining what's inside me. Would that be my salvation? To abandon my humanity entirely? Of course not! Are you retarded? I don't know what I should do, what I'm supposed to do. I'm at a complete loss about everything. I would like to believe that your desire to live in peace is sincere. And that's what I want for you too. It will be the most trying path, yes, because you will have to fight against your nature to stay on it. But we live in the human world, and you also have Pauline, who wants the same thing, extending her hand for you, inviting you to join her. So I encourage you to suppress your urges. Your life will not be easy for it, but I implore you to take the rocky road, for your own sake and for hers. Even if it means my entire life is built on a foundation of lies. Before today, I believed it was wrong not to be true to oneself. But as I listened to you tell your story, I came to the realization that there are exceptions. Some things you can, and possibly should, keep locked inside you, where you can't hurt anyone else. However, I think you have a tendency to try and act too perfect around here, both in this life and the next. You cover up so much of yourself, you become an entirely different person. You can be your conflicted, imperfect self around her. The man you are right now, lost and trying to find his way. I have little doubts she will accept that man. What you need most is restraint. I see. So tell me, do you think my future can be changed? I don't know for certain, so all I can do is speculate. But as you share the same soul, I expect any changes you make now will be reflected in your future incarnation. I have my work cut out for me then. Cheese theory time. I'm wondering if at the end of this, if we'll go back to like door 1, and it won't replay the whole thing. It'll like play out like largely the same, except like the final scene will be different. So it'll be like, tragedy happened, except there was resolution at the end instead of horribleness. Granted, door 1 wasn't that horrible, but, you know. Although that would involve white hair girl getting a happy ending in all 3, which is Morgana, which is good. That's a good thing? I don't know. I don't even know that's gonna happen, so. Pauline, she believed in me. She put her faith in a beast and went out on a search for him. I cannot allow myself to be the kind of monster that would murder a woman like her. I have to change. I will change the future. You can do it. When my life here comes to an end, I vow to make my next one better. Thank you for listening to me, for giving me guidance. I can't say I'm particularly suited for the job. Knowing that my words are going to influence the direction of another's life is an unimaginable amount of pressure. I don't know. I'd say you pull it off well enough. If you ever decide to quit being an angel, you'd make a damn convincing missionary. I have no interest in being a missionary, and as I've told you, I'm not an angel. That's too bad. I joined the Church of Michelle. I feel like I've seen this line before, but I probably haven't. It's kind of funny. Don't look at me like that. I'm just kidding. Now can I get angry at you? As I've been telling you, I'm an ordinary man. I'm not special in any way, like you seem to think I am. You're not ordinary. You're different, but not in the same way I am. I wouldn't ask any normal man to show me how to lead my life. I see. Although, what passes for normal differs from person to person, I suppose. Just as I don't think you're normal, I'm sure there are people out there who do. Perhaps. Or maybe they're just able to see my desire to be normal. Well, that's everything I have to tell you. You're going to want to talk to the Lord next, I assume. That's right. I'm going to convince him to hand over his key, and then I'm going to set Morgana free. I doubt you'll have much luck convincing him of anything, but I'll help you any way I can. I appreciate it. I'll get him to come to supper tonight. Yo, boys club? You be there too. Okay, I'll be there. If I could ask you one favor though, could you try to arrange that for as late as possible? That should be doable, but why? There's someone else I need to speak with first. Alright. I'll do what I can. Thank you. See you this evening then. What time is it for them? This is day 3. Did I then lead him to the correct path? Will he actually find redemption at the end of it? No. I made the right decision. Even if he doesn't in this life, there's enough of a chance that he will in his next. One left, and that's it. I'm almost there, Giselle. I've almost made it to Morgana. Come this far, and all that's left is to speak with the Lord. Stay focused, Michelle. The pieces I still have don't fit together. The pieces I have still don't fit together yet. As Morgana told it, the Lord was a cruel man from the moment she first saw him, and he wasn't much different than swordsman's telling of events either. Are those portrayals the full picture of what kind of man he is? Will adding his perspective do anything but amplify Morgana's hatred? And if he really is exactly the man he's been made out to be, then how do you explain his internal struggles from the third door? Did his core personality change with the times? Everyone else I've met has been fundamentally the same, though. Are you the exception, Jacapo? Oh, there's something about the build-up to the name Jacapo that is amusing to me. Morgana found joy in her life during her 3 years at the brothel. She wept about not being given the opportunity to thank them. So maybe Maria's more likely to be able to assuage Morgana's animosity? Alright, friggin' Googling lots of words today, huh? I'm pretty sure I know what assuage means. It's like persuade, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
Assuage.
Assuage, make less intense, satisfy. Assuage. Okay, yeah. I'll have to hear what she has to say. Yeah, hurt. I can barely move my right arm. I can't feel my fingers at all. It burns. I've managed this long, but damned if it doesn't hurt. I'm going crazy over here. That's crazy. That's crazy. Be Buh. Why must you hand out miracles for nothing? Oh no, this is... My water's still here. This is... Mama Morgana. Morgana Mama. I know that voice. I'm looking up at someone. A woman. She's draped in a black fog. I can't make out any details. But even through the darkness, I know immediately who she is. She is Mother. My. No, she's not my mother. She is... Why would you even ask such a question, Mother? We're barely holding on as it is, my dear. It's not wrong to expect a little remuneration for our services. No, Mother, it is wrong. Miracles are not to be bartered for. God the Father does not charge for his miracles. So why should we, when I am only borrowing his powers? Listen to me, Morgana. Every time you give someone a blessing, you're hurting yourself. If not for the miracle itself, you still deserve some degree of compensation for the pain. I know you're concerned for me, Mother, and I appreciate it very much. But I'm happy with the way things are. I'm happy to be able to help others with my Heavenly Father's power. Power you won't have much longer, my dear, if we can't afford to keep ourselves fed. I'm a saint, aren't I? Yes, you're my sweet little saint. God will not forsake his saint. No matter how difficult it may get, he will always provide me a way to continue doing his work. And you're the mother of that saint, aren't you? Yes, that's right. I conceived you untainted by the hands of a man. Then he must respect his will. Then you must respect his will as well, Mother. It must be our highest priority. You're right. I was wrong, my dear saint. Mother, you agreed with me. You said I was right. So why are you taking money from that man? Mother? Mother looks over as the strange man shoved me... Is this Morgana narration or Michelle narration? Mother looks over as strange men shove me into the carriage. The look in her eyes sends a chill down my spine. I see her lips moving. She doesn't actually say the words out loud, but I can make out every individual syllable. Because you're worthless to me. Wolf. You really gotta... Wow. Wow. Welcome, daughter of God. You'll be performing miracles for me now. And if you cooperate, I can guarantee you'll live more than comfortably. Miracles are not something to be performed for one single person's benefit. What? Miracles are not magic or parlor tricks. They are precious gifts granted to me by my Father in heaven. Using his power for personal gratification is a grave sin. I will do no such thing. I entreat you to think long and hard about your actions. Do away with such selfish desires and dedicate yourself to helping the people. Power you have been given was bestowed upon you by the hand of God. It is not your power. He is merely allowing you to make use of it for a short time. Pride is a sin. Please consider how you conduct yourself. You're an ignorant, insolent child, aren't you? I bought you. You are my property. You have no right to an opinion. That is not my opinion. That is the way of the world. As God... Silence! You are not here to talk. You are here to perform miracles for me and my guests. As I have already told you, I will do no such thing. What you will or will not do is my decision, not yours. The Lord says, with a sickening laugh, then grabs me by the hair and knocks me to the floor. I beg him to stop, but he isn't listening to a word I say. Cheers! A saint's blood and good fortune to all. I stare vaguely out at the crowd gathered for the Lord's blood feast. Every time he has guests, He throws another party every time he slices another part of my arms or legs open. It isn't long before they're an unsightly web of crisscross scars. The Lord sometimes has trouble deciding where to cut, but not of any sense of sympathy for me. He simply thinks drawing blood from an untouched area of my body would make it more effective. That's stupid. You're stupid, Jacapo. The Lord strips me bare. Perhaps I'll use your stomach today, Saint. What is wrong with you? I should be able to get some nice pure blood from there. Stop this. Can you not comprehend what you're doing as an affront to the Lord? I'm free to do what I wish with my property. Saint or not, you're no different than any of my slaves. The Lord is greatly displeased with your actions. Then use your miracle powers to deliver divine punishment on me. Go on. You can do that, can't you? Your soul will be punished. You may not see the effects now, but you will pay for your sins one day. Ha! You're not as threatening as you think you are, buck-naked girl. Don't give me that look, girl. I have no interest in taking that from you. You'd be lucky to find anyone willing to lay with a girl covered in disgusting scars. All I can do is wait and endure day after day of torture and shame of the Lord searching for new places to stick his knife. My entire body, except for my face, is covered in reddish-black wounds. Someone, anyone, help me. Get me out of here. Please, someone. Oh, Father who art in heaven, I pray for you to lead me on to deliverance. Father, your trials, they are much too great. I don't know, you ever read the Bible? God has some pretty sick and terrible trials for people. Morgana. That was much clearer than the first time I saw it. Everything she felt. Her struggling, her sincerity, her pain, and her voice. It all felt almost as though I was the one going through it all. Ah, the Lord. I can understand why Morgana bears such a powerful grudge against him, considering everything he did to her. Why would he do that, though? Is there some reason, some explanation for his actions? I'm thoroughly exhausted. Like, I've just spent the last several months having my blood drained again and again. My limbs feel like they have boulders tied to them. Just trying to get to my feet makes me dizzy. So cold. She's probably waiting for me by now. I should get going. I have to do this. Move, damn it! Fighting against my body's attempts to succumb to gravity with every step through sheer force of will, I make my way to the courtyard. Yo, what's up, Maria? How's it going? Oh, there you are. Thank God you came. Sneaking onto church grounds is a bit unnerving, so if you... Are you alright? You look like you just came back from the dead. I'm fine. Thank you for coming. Now, to continue our conversation from yesterday. Whoa, slow down. Who do you think you're convincing? You look about as fine as a fucking corpse. If you're not feeling well, we can always do this some other time. Whoa, what happened to your hand? It's a minor injury. Nothing of any significance. Seriously, who do you think you're convincing, man? I can get around fine without a few fingers. You gotta take yourself into consideration too. You can only run on raw determination for so long. And imagine how it makes me feel for a second. You're asking to talk and showing up looking like that? If you want to get anything done, you gotta take care of yourself first. Head on back to your room and rest. Let's do this some other time, okay? When you're feeling... I don't have that kind of time. Noon tomorrow. That's my deadline. I have to take care of everything before then. I know damn well what condition I'm in. But that doesn't change what I need to do. If I don't, I can't save Morgana. I can't get Giselle back. That makes it all the more important you get your rest. And when do you suggest I do that exactly? Honestly, I don't get why you're in such a damn tizzy. Get a hold of yourself, man. I'm plenty calm. You sure don't look it. You're already pushing yourself to the edge. I don't want to be responsible for giving you that last nudge. So quit bickering with me and get your ass back and get some rest. You don't understand the gravity of the situation. None of you do. You don't grasp how great an effect stopping what happens tomorrow will have. Just keep moving, even if that means crawling through the dirt. If I don't, not only will I fail to make things better, Morgana's almost certainly got even worse fates in store for all of you, so long as her curse lives on. I'm the only one here who knows what awaits. So that makes you what, a prophet or something then? Not exactly, no. But in terms of this time period, that would be the most apt description. Do you not believe me? Well, you know, that is asking a lot. That's fine. You don't have to. But at the very least, I want you to believe that I genuinely believe something terrible is going to happen tomorrow if I don't do something. That I don't think I have time to waste. All I need you to do is tell me what you know. Could you do that for me? Hey, you know what's a fun fact? When I upload this VOD to YouTube, it's not going to allow me to trim out the loading segments. It's gonna be like, this video is too long. You're not allowed to edit it in any way, shape, or form. Goodbye. Thanks, YouTube. That's a weird time limit of 6 hours for some reason. You go a millisecond over it, and it's like, nope, editing doesn't exist. Goodbye. Granted, I could download it and edit it and then upload it to YouTube, but that's so much more of a pain. You don't even know. You don't even know, chat. Assuming you actually are a prophet or whatever, why don't you just, you know, get the hell out of town? Say, fuck it, this is too much, and vanish into the night. No one's gonna blame you if you do. Hell, is anyone even gonna notice you did anything if you do succeed? I'm not in this for attention or praise. I cannot sit idly by knowing what I know. Seeing what has happened and what will. Knowing what Morgana went through, what she felt. I can't abandon her. Not anymore. I can't let my knowledge go to waste. While it is true that the mansion will continue to be wrapped in darkness so long as Morgana's curse remains in effect. And nothing can be put to rest until I do something about that. That's not my sole motivation anymore. I sincerely want to help Morgana. Giselle, is that what you meant when you told me you wanted me to save her? You seem like the kind of fella who's always fretting about something or other. You don't know how to take it easy, do you? Though I guess, in a way, that's kind of why you can fight so hard, huh? Alright, you win. I'll talk. Anything you want to know, I'll tell you. Thank you very much. But you sit your butt down first. Okay. I'm gonna statue mode real quick. Refill my water. No, you see, this is practice for my 12-hour stream that I'm gonna do. Of course, I don't actually know how long I'm gonna go tonight. Oh, come on. Cord's always getting under my chair. That's fun. Morgana said that? Wait, what did she say? Oh, something. Okay. Morgana said that? She did. She described her 3 years there as one of the brightest periods of her life. Huh. Who'd have thought? Damn, that's kinda really great to hear. Did she ever tell you herself how she felt? She never really made much of an attempt to be part of the group. It was like she had these colossal walls all around her. I can see that. Yeah, so I always kind of felt like I never knew if I was sticking my nose in too far or not, you know? Well, is that something that would really stop you, Maria? You don't seem like the type that would be stopped by that. She appreciated what you and the other women did for her. After the raid 4 years ago, she ended up in the hands of a slave trader. As she was being transported, she said this with tears in her eyes. I'm sad because I didn't get the chance to show my gratitude to the people dear to me. No, just to people. Well, damn. So is that, absolutely 100% exactly what she said? You're not just pulling it out of your ass, are you? Those were exact words, yes, as hard as it may be to believe. Nah, I believe you. I'm just surprised is all. I mean, just, wow, yeah. If I had known that was how she felt, maybe I could have been a little friendlier with her. You weren't friendly with her? Not especially. I mean, that's not to say I was cold or anything. It's just that all the girls kept a bit of a distance from her. Not because we didn't like her, but because that's what it looked like she wanted, some distance. None of us were really cut out for the caretaker gig. As much as we'd love to be some kind of mother figure to her, we just didn't have it in us. Who was closest to her? He's dead. The slave. Huh? What's this about a slave? There is a young man, a slave who participated in the revolt at the Lord's Manor, who saved Morgana's life. Yeah, that's the guy. He was the closest of any of us to her, or at least, gave her the most attention. And he's 6 feet under. That's unfortunate. What can you do? People will come and go. That's just the way of things. I thought that maybe if he were still alive, that would improve our chances of saving Morgana. Improve our chances? There's only one way about it. We smash that Lord's fucking skull in and take his key. That's not an option. Doing that will not alleviate her hatred. Would you be willing to accompany us when we go into the observation tower? Huh? Me? Why? I want you to be there to say something to her. I'll say whatever you want me to say once you've gotten her out of the tower. Don't you think being able to hear the voice from someone she cares for when she's finally set free would do more to pull her out of the darkness than anything else? That's all the more reason it can't be me. Why not? Like I've been saying, I was never that tight with her. I kept my distance. can't do anything. Not with the reasons you've given me for why she's so full of hatred. I have no other options, though. You know, actually, while I doubt this will do much in the way of getting rid of her grudge, there is something I was supposed to give her but never got the chance. Oh? It's nothing special. It's just a rinky-dink little necklace. But if you get the chance, would you mind giving it to her? If anyone, that should come from you. It's not from me. It's supposed to be from the slave. You got it for her as a birthday present. But that was the day the brothel got raided. So yeah, that's the story. Make sure she gets it, would you? Okay, I will. Thanks, man! Well, now that that's out of the way, I should split. Best of... There you are! Oh. I had no idea who it was. So that is something I've been thinking about. That the slave that saved her is such like an important figure in Morgana's story. And the story is so much about reincarnation that I've been thinking about like where is Mother and where is that slave? And I guess I have theories about who they might be, but I'll just be quiet for fear of a tongue lashing. You went in your room. I was worried sick. What are you two doing here? You're going to talk to the Lord tonight, right? So, we're all going to gang up on him. There's a chance you might be able to set the sentence free. No way am I going to miss that. That's why you're here? That, and to say goodbye. I want for them to make reparations as soon as the girl's released. Do you feel the same way, Nellie? If Mel tells me he wants to, then I won't stop him. But he was threatened, so if it's possible, I don't think that there's any need for him to rush to be punished. I don't want to lose my brother. Surely there are other ways he can atone. That's reasonable. I do feel guilty about what he was put through. It's not your fault what he did. Anyway, I'm really, really anxious about tonight, and I'm sure it'll all turn out fine. You'll make it work, won't you, dearest Michelle? I'll do my best. I need a do my best sound alert. Come on, you've got to act confident. Take care of my Mel for me, too. He's very fragile, so handle him with care. Like a big old box of china. Is he really that fragile? As for me, if he looks like he's going to do anything he shouldn't, would you stop him for me? Wish I could be there to do it myself, but well, he insists the only people directly involved should be there, and I want to respect that. I was never going to allow anyone to get hurt anyway. That's good, thank you. He and the Lord may have caused the girl a great deal of pain, but I still don't want anyone to get hurt. Some people deserve it. I say let them have it. No, Maria, don't be like that. You know, I kind of agree with Maria. I know that, like, that wouldn't fit the narrative, like the themes and stuff, but I kind of agree with her. You're the weird one, little Miss Perfect. Go around letting everyone off the hook for everything, and the whole damn world's gonna come falling down around you. He did what he did for me, though. And the Lord? He's only in it for his own profit. Much as he says it benefits the city, it still comes back around to his own pockets. The Lord's not a bad man, though. Yeah, I've heard it 1,000 times. No one's a bad person in your eyes, I know. Oh. Well, that reminds me of something. Do I need to... Hey! Should I talk about it on stream? I'm gonna. I redid my model reveal tweet, and I said that likes plus retweets got the reward, and it's sitting at 6 retweets and 4 likes, and that's 10, so that means I can post it with my feet. Rad. But I'll do that, and I'll schedule it for tomorrow. It's better to post that like in the middle of the day when people are using Twitter, and maybe lure in some more retweets. Maybe. I think that's how Twitter works. Not really sure. Now, can we please try to keep things civil? Yeah, sorry. Bad habit, I know. I talk a lot of rot, but I don't really mean half of it. Oh, well, good for you. I do think he's much better than the old lord, though. Hold on a second. What did you just say? He's better than the old... When did the current lord take his place? 4 years ago? Oh, because the old lord probably died in the revolt. So it wasn't even Jacapo that had her in sight. But he still is the one that decided to kidnap her and put her in the tower. What? Morgana was 9 years old when she was at the Lord's Manor. 7 years ago. Maria, were you ever at the Lord's Manor at any time 7 years ago? Nah, I was never hired by anyone there. Then when? You didn't have any interaction with the Lord 7 years ago. Now it all makes sense. How did I not consider this possibility sooner? I know what kind of man he is, and I know the people he had around him. Maria, is the slave actually dead? Oh my gosh. It was Jacapo? No. No, no, no. No, no, no. You can't tell me. No. Oh my gosh. I can't even get into... You want to talk about betrayal? You'd better have a damn good reason for this. Hey, it's Boys Club. Should I save and quit at Boys Club? Or wait, is this Boys Club? Or is that something else? I feel like I remember Boys Club looking different. I don't know. I can't remember. We are at 7 hours. I'm flummoxed. I'm plumb flummoxed, I am. I came because you said you had something important to discuss. Now, care to tell me who the hell this white-haired man is and what he's doing here? You neglected to mention we'd be having company. I'm the one who asked him to arrange this meeting with you. And who the hell would you be? He's an angel. Or a prophet. What? Did you both finally snap under the pressure? I'll leave it for you to decide what you think I am. I will say, though, that I know everything. I know you've got a girl imprisoned in the observation tower, and I know you're taking her blood and calling it medicine, passing out at church. This is Boys Club, right? Oh. Which one of you squealed? No one told him anything. He just knew. He knows everything, including my deepest desires and what happens in my next life. He's probably peering into your soul this very moment. You've completely lost it, I see. Well, how you got your information doesn't matter. All I need to know is this. What are you hoping to gain from it? Wealth? My downfall? What? Morgana's freedom. I want you to give me your key. Then I want you to tell me your story. This music, though, it's very tense. I've come from the future, from the world after Morgana's death. Her soul courses with hatred for the three of you, and she's placed a curse of eternal suffering on your souls. Has everyone at this damn table gone mad? Did you seriously think I would believe that nonsense? Don't interrupt me. My objective is not so much to rescue Morgana's physical body from the tower, but to save her soul from an eternity of loathing. I can't achieve that on my own, however. Because I am not from this time, I have had no direct interaction with her or anyone else here until just recently. In order to make her have a change of heart, I need to gather the truth from the people who are from this time. And I suspect that you hold the last piece of the puzzle. The biggest piece. That you have far deeper connection with Morgana than anyone else here. No, I'm all but certain of it now. Your perspective is crucial to accomplish my goal. Ah. Tell me your whole story, please. How you ended up capturing and imprisoning Morgana, what you thought and felt along the way. Your truth will get through to her, I know it. That will be the turning point in all this. Her curse will be no more. You will all be returned to the paths you were meant to walk. Everyone will have their salvation. Someone throw this madman out! I won't do it. Neither will I. Not that I could. Damned worthless curs. Talk to me, Jacapo. I want to know about your feelings. I'll call the gods, then. Who do you think I am, exactly? I am the lord of this land. Under ordinary circumstances, I'd never so much as deign to speak with you, lowly peasant. Now get out of my sight, or I'll take it as an act of aggression, and you'll find yourself without a head. In this room right now, you're not a lord. You're a lone man. Until you hand over your key, we're not letting you leave. And you'll find there aren't any guards for you to call. You're all alone in this estate. Your preoccupation with staying out of sight played right into our hands. Accept your defeat, Lord. We've already agreed to set the witch free. What the heck? Cowardly worms. Yeah, it'd be real brave of us to fight all your guards, huh? Ironic coming from you. Humph. I didn't think you turned quite so eagerly. The nun and your kid sister are in on it too, I take it. We were only working for you. We never felt any sort of allegiance for you. We were only working for you. Emphasis. Loyalty founded on what one has to gain or lose is far more resilient than uncertain, fluctuating feelings. But it would appear this white-haired man shattered that foundation. How long have you been colluding with them, cur? I arrived in this era 2 days ago. What? 2 days? In just 2 days you got these worms dancing for you? They're not dancing for me. I merely spoke with them and they listened. You're a disturbed man. You couldn't possibly have won over these two in a mere 2 days. He is no ordinary man. As we've said, he knew everything. While I was talking to him, it felt like he was looking directly into my soul. Yeah, you've said that. He's definitely an unusual one, yeah. It felt like he's known me my whole life, even though he's just shown up out of nowhere 2 days ago. I didn't believe what he was saying at first. But he knew things he couldn't possibly know. My secret wish, something I've never told anyone before. I don't know what kind of tricks you're playing, but now I don't know why I've never seen... Now I know why I've never seen you around. If you've been lurking around the city for long, or sticking your nose where it didn't belong, you would have taken notice sooner or later. Huh, I'm impressed. I don't know why, I'm sorry. I don't know why, but I like that face. That's good. In only 2 days, you managed to convince them both to betray me and set me up. I am indeed the one in charge of this operation. So if it's the witch you're after, I'm the obvious target, yes. The 2 dogs there surely have some pent-up rage. So I take it you're going to tie me up, then torture me until I tell you what you want to know? That's not a bad idea. What do you say? Give me the word and he's in ropes. Well, wait, we agreed we weren't getting rough. I have no interest in solving this problem with violence. We are here to uncover the truth. We needn't exchange blows, only words. Anyway, if we're going to beat it out of him, we would have done it as soon as he walked through the door. We discussed this beforehand. We're only talking. No one's getting into any fights. Physically or verbally. That's right. Well, it looks like I've got no way out, so you've got me. I surrender. Take my key. Go open the tower doors. Well, that was easier than expected. Your key is not important right now. Your perspective is what I seek. Why did you make... They said the lock requires 3 keys. 1 person is more than adequate for the job. So why split it 3 ways? Is that any of your concern, Carl? Is it because it was too much weight to bear alone? You didn't actually want to imprison Morgana, did you? I don't care if he wanted to. Something somewhere went wrong. You backed yourself into a corner and couldn't escape. I'm done listening to you. Am I right, or am I wrong, Lord? Should I say Jacapo? Jacapo was his real name. Jacapo? But that isn't his name. Jean-François Barnier. That's Lord Barnier to you insolent child. You seem to be a bit confused. I am son of the House of Barnier, which means I'm royalty. No, you are not. I don't know how you came to start calling yourself Barnier. Barnier. But there's not a drop of royal blood flowing through your veins. Which is important, I guess. The slave revolt at the Lord's Manor 7 years ago. You were there, weren't you? During the revolt, you helped Morgana escape. That's right, you saved her life once. That was you. You were the slave from 7 years ago. Yep. And that doesn't somehow make what he's done to Morgana better. In fact, it makes it worse. Slave? Are you out of your goddamn mind? Me, a slave? Like hell, a former slave could become royalty. You did it, though. You went from slave to lord. Enough. I don't know who's filling that white head of yours. That white-haired head of yours with this drivel, but I'm done listening to it. Say another word and I'll throttle you myself. Keep slandering my name, I dare you. Maria told me the slave from back then was dead. She didn't mean it literally, though. She meant he wasn't who he used to be anymore. Maria, you've been talking to her too? Because she was afraid if Morgana found out. It would only serve to throw her deeper into despair. The man who had once saved her was now responsible for keeping her imprisoned. Do your ears not work, Kerr? I said I've had enough. I need your perspective. There's more to the story, I'm certain of it. I refuse to believe you acted only for your own benefit, only to cause her pain. Whew. Wow. Dang, that was like 75% of the water bottle. If you want the key so damn badly, then take it. Set the witch free, I don't give a damn. But if you say another word, I'll rip your fucking tongue out. Again, the key is not what I need right now. Though, you know, Michelle, it might be nice to go, like, rescue Morgana ASAP. Get her out of the tower, get some food in her. Maybe give her some medicine for what's killing her. I forget if she did she die from a disease or did she starve herself to death? I can't remember. I need your story. Are you deaf or just an imbecile? Your perspective is crucial to saving Morgana's soul. Enough! When you were a slave, you helped Morgana escape from the Lord. Silence! And you spent the next 3 years with her. Just one more fucking word, I swear to God! So how did you end up here? How did the boy from 7 years ago go from saving her to locking her up and stealing her blood? There's no excusing her actions, no. But please, I need you to tell me how you got to this point. Enough! Michelle! You wanna do something, Bestia? Next thing I see is a dagger in his hand pointed at me. I reflexively try to push myself out of the path, mischarged with my dominant hand, which sends a jolt of excruciating pain up my right arm. I'll rip your fucking head off! The Lord swings his arm up, and the necklace spills from my pocket, making a metallic clink as it hits the floor. When he sees it, his eyes go wide for a brief moment. Of course, I'm just as slack-jawed as him. What? What the heck is going on? Why? How? Why am I looking at a familiar cloud of inky black darkness? There's no one to answer my question, though, and no time to think about it either. I have to make a decision right now. The Lord, the dagger raised, is quickly approaching. Off to the side, the cloud of darkness is expanding. Why would I reach into the darkness? Shove the Lord aside? Without thinking, I shove the Lord aside. Ow. What? Next thing I see is the Lord's body crumbling to the floor. No, Bestia! No, you soiled it! His head rolling off in a separate direction. I'm agape, dumbfounded, my eyes swimming. As blood spreads in a pool around his body. This is a bad end, obviously. Picked the wrong choice. I guess the black darkness represents Giselle. So we should have picked her? I don't know. Why? Why did you kill him? He was going to kill you. I had no choice. You weren't supposed to kill him. I wonder how long this battle lasts. I hadn't, you would be dead. Needed his story. Not as much as we need you alive. What does this mean for my next life? I shouldn't have shoved him. Getting the truth out of him was more important than my own safety. No, we can't get anything from him. That was a mistake. I got him killed. Okay, I was reading that completely backwards. I was like, the blackness is trying to take you out of this timeline. Like it'll save your life. You won't get stabbed, but it'll take you out of the timeline and you won't be able to do stuff anymore. Whereas I thought shoving him aside was like facing the problem head on. And it's like, I don't care what happens to me. But, alright, I read it completely backwards. Oh well. But, hey, Michelle, what are we supposed to do now? There's no changing what's already been done. I need to think forward how we're going to proceed. We'll go to the tower. We'll try to assuage as much as Morgana's hatred as possible with the two of your perspectives. That's not gonna work. Although I suppose it's worth it to see, because this won't just be, and then Beastia killed him, and he said a lot, like the last two bad ends were. This will actually have an interesting consequence. That said, I'll be. But these things happen when you chug, almost a whole bottle of water. Like, this is a big bottle. This is a liter water bottle. Come on. Hi. I'm gonna go for another cough drop. I haven't had one in like, how long's the stream? But I haven't had one in like 6 hours. Okay. And I've been talking the whole time. As you say. And doing stupid Beastia voice. Granted, I haven't been hamming up Beastia's voice. I've been like, then she said to me, she said, nameless man, I love you. Hey, Morgana. We're here to let you out. Are you cool? Are you chill? Are you dozer? Uh-oh, I think she's dozer, guys. Oh no, she's not dozer. Using the key we took from the Lord's corpse, the three of us unlocked the observation tower, climbed the spiral staircase, and opened the door at the top. The air in the room is bone-chilling. A single shaft of moonlight shines through that high tower window. Oh, by the way, I didn't say that I was going to run an ad break during the BRB screen, but I figured the BRB screen isn't really content that needs to be watched, and when I do run an ad break, it prevents pre-roll ads from playing for the next 20 minutes. So in case anyone pops in, then they won't get an ad because I played it during the BRB screen. That was my reason. I'm not trying to milk money out of whoever's watching. Illuminating the young girl imprisoned within. Oh, jeez. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't show this visual before now. I mean, I guess it's not that severe, but it's still kind of unsettling. I'm aghast at what I see. She's been treated far worse than I imagined. Her skin is so deathly pale, it sends a chill through me. Oh, I mean, she's definitely on the brink of death. But it's just... the visual isn't as horrifying as I was afraid it would be. She's got a little butterfly lapel thing. That's cute. Just looking at her, Not even certain she's still alive. Morgana. Say something, Morgana. Morgana. Combination of relief. The fact that she's still breathing and anger at the condition she's in bubbles up within me. How is any of this necessary? Did you really have to chain her up? Tell me, how is this necessary? We didn't have her chained up at first. Not that that justifies anything, I know. But she started acting up lately. Trying to bite us, getting violent. She even tried to climb up to the window. There's nothing to grab onto, or anywhere to put your feet, so it's not like she could even make it that high. But that didn't stop her. She's fallen and hurt herself several times. The chains were the Lord's idea. Not me, I'm Mel. I'm innocent of everything. I'm sorry. I'll be right there, Morgana. Oh. That's... Morgana. I brought a couple people who wish to make penance. I'll have these chains off to you soon. Don't worry. You'll be able to return to your old life soon. Morgana? I'm here to set you free. Stay with me, Morgana. You're all three here. What? The three men. You're all here. Morgana. You, with the flaxen hair. You're a liar. A charlatan. You were a murderer. You cut off my arm. And you, Lord, it all leads back to you. You tortured me, degraded me for your own amusement. Now 3 of you are here. Morgana, why did you hold all those blood sabbats? That wasn't me. I'm not the Lord. Why did you go after me again? The Lord isn't here, Morgana. The 3 of you are right there. Morgana! Eternal suffering. No, Morgana, look at me. I'm here to set you free. Eternal suffering. Can you not see that I'm not him? Listen to my voice. Do I sound like the Lord? I don't even have an Italian accent. Eternal. I'm not the Lord. Eternal suffering. Morgana. Eternal suffering on all their souls. Wait, stop. The next second, the tower is draped in blackness. The floor beneath us vanishes, and I hear shouts off in the distance as I'm dragged into the endless darkness. There's nothing for me to grab onto. I simply fall through the void. It's a sensation similar to the one I've experienced a number of times before sinking into the mansion's darkness. But there's something fundamentally different about this. It's utter emptiness. The utter emptiness. The utter sense of solitude. I can't even breathe. My very essence has become one with the darkness. Still, I try to struggle against it, when a pair of small arms wrap themselves around from behind me. Loneliness seeps through those arms and wisps about within me, eroding away my spirit, and melding with something. Will you stay with me? You won't ever leave me, will you? Will you become one with me? Will you stay by my side? I don't want to be alone anymore. The hatred seems to have left you. But what is left behind, what I'm feeling from her now, is a stark, overwhelming desolation. As much as I know I have to get back to reunite with Giselle, my own emotions are washed away by hers, and I'm unable to resist the two of us, now one and the same, fade away into darkness everlasting, leaving behind only a single teardrop that could be either ours or both. Womp womp. Ending 6, Darkness Everlasting. Oh, that's... okay. Like I could possibly leave it there. Come on. Michelle, you have such giant hands. It's bigger than, like, both of their faces combined. Which I don't know why you would measure a hand to a face, aside from that one joke that everyone learned in grade school. I mean, I reach into the darkness, obviously. Duh. I reach my hand into the darkness spreading from the necklace. As soon as I do... oh, I didn't realize it was coming from the necklace. I must have missed that? Huh. What the hell is this? What's that black stuff? The blackness swells, consuming us all. Oh? Wow, wow, wow. Smushy, smushy. No, stop. What is this? Don't make me. Watch this! His shouts fade into the distance, and my mind and body are swallowed up entirely. It's the same thing that happened whenever Giselle and I opened a door. Same darkness I gazed into again and again, and again, and again in that cursed mansion. Okay, well, I didn't realize that when I made the choice. That house exists outside reality. Far, far off into the distance, I can see a gentle light like a hole ripped out of the darkness. Green grass, colorful flowers rustling in the wind. I don't understand. The darkness. It was never present in the past. It was, I thought, a phenomenon restricted to the realm of the dead. So what is it doing here? But even my questions are, in short order, swallowed up by the void. Soon my body ceases to retain its form, leaving only my consciousness to view the sights, sounds, and emotions of someone's past. I become an observer, as I have many times before. I see. Naruhodone? Naruhodone. Naruhodo. Naruhodone. Sorry, I was stalling. Is this Jacapo perspective? I'm staring into a pair of ruby red eyes, open wide with shock. I recall snapping at him, insulting him, but I don't remember what I said. Nor do I remember how he responded. All I know is that a wave of churning blackness appeared out of nowhere, pushing me away. I'm powerless, helpless, hopeless. My young mind sucked into it like a whirlpool. Young? My young mind? Oh, for Christ's sake. You've got to be kidding me. Why? For the love of God, why am I being made to look at this part of my life? This miserable, stupid, fucking romantic I once was. Why am I turning back into the boy I tried so hard to forget? Where did this absurd black smoke come from, and why can't I get out of it? If it's that white-haired man who's doing this to me, then he's not an angel or a prophet. He's the goddamn devil himself. But all my questions, my confusion, my frustration, everything that composes my present is superseded by that darkness, wisping away into nothing. Alright, Jacapo. Give it your best shot. Convince me. To be blunt, the world's a small place. There's an unimaginable amount of it out there, but you only ever get to see a minuscule fraction of that. And that goes doubly for us. The poor barely get the chance to see any of it at all. Those who were born into it, affluence, well, they have no idea just how small our world really is. I never yearned for the world outside what I knew. I more coveted it, a splash of spite mixed in. I wanted to claw my way up the mountain, knock all the bastards down who'd never seen what it was like at the bottom. If I made it high enough, I could do anything. I would have complete freedom. It all sounds like a childish fantasy to you. Well, you'd be right, if that does. There you are. You spend so much time in the graveyard that one of these days someone's going to think you're a gravekeeper, or maybe a grave robber. Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. I can understand a gravekeeper, but I take offense at the suggestion I look like a grave robber. I'm praying for the souls who have no one to see them off. The girl, named Morgana, turned around to face me. Though I'd known her for some time, I'd rarely ever looked her in the eyes. Her face was almost always concealed beneath a dark hood, revealing only the tip of her nose and sometimes her lips. I think I got the quotes mixed up with each other. Honestly, I don't get it. Why do you care so much? These are the souls that have no one else to pray for them. At best, they may get a bit of lip service from a priest once or twice. It's our responsibility to offer a helping hand to the sick and the poor, to pray for the abandoned souls. What I don't get is why you need to pray for the dead at all. They're just bags of bones. I hope you enjoy an eternity in hell, blasphemer. Hey! That was uncalled for. I'm just joking, obviously. You take black humor to a new level. Morgana gave me a curt shrug, then turned away. She never faced anyone head-on for very long, and she had a perfectly good reason for it. It wasn't because she disliked me or anything. I don't think, anyway. About 3 years earlier, something had happened that had caused large patches of flesh to fall off her face. Supposedly, she looked fine before then, but I only knew her as she was at that time. The rest of her body was covered in wounds as well, but applying ointment to them had reduced the scarring significantly. Her face, though, showed no signs of recovering. Huh. Is that separate from the bloodletting? A close friend of mine, a prostitute, said she thought it might be a psychological thing, but regardless, I continued applying the ointment to Morgana's face. Hey, come on, don't turn away from me. I know you can hear me. I brought ointment, so let me put it on you. It's a waste of time. You don't know that. Your arms look much better than before. It won't be long before your face starts healing too. The ointment isn't free. You're wasting your money. It's my money. I can use it however I please, so just shut up and let me do this. You're a very obnoxious man, you know. What was that? You want me to rub it in real hard, huh? Fine. With a forlorn graveyard as their backdrop, the young man applied salve to the girl's raw, exposed flesh. It was quite possibly the least romantic sight in the world. I would have at least preferred a somewhat more pleasant location. As the thought fluttered through my mind, I let out a defeated laugh, and I could soon feel her glaring at me. Morgana could be a bit standoffish, but honestly, I didn't mind. For her, this was actually quite sociable, in fact. When I first met her, she didn't act her age at all, but now she was starting to show signs of the 12-year-old girl hidden inside. 3 years prior, when I met Morgana, she had been the victim of unspeakable abuse at the hands of the Lord. I didn't know why he had done those things to her, and I didn't ask either, because I knew doing so would only reopen old wounds. The mental ones, not the physical ones. Pre-roll ads are back already? Jeez. Time flies when you're immersed in the story. All I knew was that the Lord was so far gone as a human being as to brutally torture a 9-year-old girl. At the time, the only thing that ever seemed to come out of her mouth was the word of God. Everything she said or did was ostensibly for the benefit of others. Ostensibly, apparently, or purportedly, but perhaps not actually. Okay, so apparently then. But it felt more like she was acting out of some sort of sense of duty rather than genuine concern. Honorable, but ultimately hollow. I much preferred this Morgana, even if she could be a bit jaded. What are you hoping to get out of repairing my face? I'm not trying to get anything, I just wanted you to heal up. And here I thought you were trying to make me work at the brothel. How many times do I have to tell you, I'm not going to make you be a prostitute? What other reason could you have for wanting my face to get better? Because I want to see it. Isn't that enough? Just so we're clear, that wasn't meant to be me hitting on you, okay? The thought never occurred to me. She fell quiet, sitting there motionless as I rubbed ointment into her face. Her skin beneath my thumb was rough and unpleasant to the touch, and honestly rather stomach-turning. It was hard to imagine her face would ever heal. What I'd said about wanting to see her face was true, but what I wanted more than anything was for her to be able to live a relatively normal life. I hope you're prepared to be let down if I ever do heal. That's possibility's just part of the fun. You have as much tact as a worm. No tact and bad taste. I'm a real winner. Yo, me too. It's a wonder no one throttles you in your sleep. Being a guy, of course, I would have been pleased if she turned out pretty with her face healed, but her life was guaranteed to be easier than now, no matter what she looked like. That was what really mattered, ultimately. I could only imagine how hard it was to have your life turned completely upside down at the age of 9. A large portion of us in the slums had our share of misfortune, but hardly any of them stacked up to what Morgana had to bear. She had no parents. When I'd asked about her mother, she'd gotten cagey with me, so I assumed she'd been sold off. When I asked about her father, though, she just pointed up at the sky, which I took to mean he was dead. Dead. Okay. Fair. A young girl, no family, sent off all on her own to some strange land, somewhere along the line, ending up in the Lord's cruel grasp. Misfortune felt like an understatement, if anything. That said, it wasn't just out of pity that I gave Morgana so much of my attention. The other reason, though, well, she'd probably go running if I told her. Well, I wanted to hit myself over the head. I'll still be your friend, even if you turn out to be the ugliest girl in the city. Don't tell me the other reason is he wants access to her healing blood. You should be grateful. How's it you managed to chase off everyone in your... You haven't managed to chase off everyone in your life yet? I act like a decent guy around other people. Do my best to fit in. Oh, is that how you're supposed to do it? Oh. Now why are you such a dolt around me? Just doing my best to fit in. So you're saying this is my fault? Everyone could use a thorn or two. Makes it more exciting. You especially. Okay, that should be everything. Does it sting anywhere? Not particularly, no. Alright. Oh, and also finish up here and get back to Maria soon. Unless you'd rather I drag you there. Why? Seriously? It's your damn birthday, that's why. And? What do you think, dimwit? She wants to celebrate. Get back there soon, okay? Planning to drop by too. Okay? Okay. She gave a sheepish nod, which was honestly kind of cute. But of course, I couldn't say that. So I shrugged my shoulders, feigning exasperation, and then turned to leave. Once, I might have offered to accompany her back to the brothel, but Morgana never seemed keen on the idea of walking anywhere with me. Maybe she was afraid of grown men, after what had happened to her at the Lord's Manor. Or maybe she just didn't want me to be seen with someone who looked like her. So hey, I thought you were leaving? One day I'll show you the world. I won't get my hopes up. Get your hopes up, damn it! I said with a soft chuckle, then I took my leave. I had every intention of making good on that promise, and I had more than enough reason to believe I could. 3 years back, there was a slave revolt at the Lord's Manor. That's not quite accurate, though, because while I was partly responsible for the inciting the riot, I wasn't actually a slave. The local lord was spoken of in whispers as the second coming of the great tyrant of old. The people were constantly grumbling about how he seemed to treat the land like his own personal playground, exploiting everything and everyone on it for his own amusement. When enough stress and resentment builds up in a contained space, all it takes is a little shove from the outside to burst. And that was our plan. Me and a number of other dissatisfied citizens gathered together to pop that bubble and give the Lord a taste of how we felt about him. With the help of a slave trader, I infiltrated the Lord's Manor. I had known slaves weren't treated well. Excuse me. But seeing it for myself, I thought most of these people would have been happier having been born as a dog or cat and owned by someone who actually had a heart. It was revolting, a flagrant injustice. Broadly speaking, there are two types of people who see injustice in the world. First, there are those who have everything, who sit unchallenged at the top of the world, looking down on the less fortunate with pity. The second are those with nothing, who wish to overthrow the entire system, keeping them down. It should come as no surprise that I fell in the second camp. Once I was inside, I went around the manor, telling all the slaves about our plan. Most of them had long since lost the will to fight, but with enough assurance, there were people on the outside ready and waiting to help. Glimmers of hope started to return to their eyes. Finding out they weren't alone, that they weren't helpless anymore, had an incredible effect on their morale. And once the slaves were convinced, the revolt began. It ended up being larger in scale than I had imagined, and many lost their lives in the process, but the majority of them managed to escape. Naturally, the slaves couldn't stay in the city, so I directed them to people waiting outside who would take them to another city or a neighboring country. I had neither the money nor the power to guarantee them a good life on the outside, but that hardly mattered to them. Everyone was sure that wherever they ended up would be better than staying, and I prayed that would be the case. It was during the revolt that I saved Morgana. I would have sent her off somewhere else like all the other slaves, but she was in so dire a condition when I found her that she could hardly even move on her own. She had been sapped of all her willpower. So, I brought her to the brothel where a friend of mine worked and asked her to take Morgana in. My companions and I reveled in the revolt's success. It wasn't enough of an accomplishment to have any real political implications, but we still felt like heroes. Drunk on victory, we started talking about going bigger, starting a full-on revolution. Once the elation passed, though, we realized there wasn't much more we could do. Even if we did manage to start a large enough uprising to kill the Lord, we were only peasants. Not only did we not know the first thing about ruling, the other counts would never acknowledge our authority anyway. We'd pretend to be in control until the next in line showed up, and that would be the end of that. So we just ended up sitting on our thumbs. No way to do anything about our discontent. Skip forward to about a month before Morgana's birthday. One day, a middle-aged woman approached me. I had never met her before, but she had wavy hair that reminded me a great deal of my own. Looking me straight in the eye, the woman said, "I was once a maidservant for the Barnier estate. They've done their best to keep it secret, but I had a child with the previous lord. That child is you." The revelation came completely out of the blue. According to her, I had royal blood, and if we could convince the lord of that, I could become royalty. Furthermore, she, as my alleged mother, could return to her old life at the manor. The woman urged me to take action, to meet the lord, reveal my lineage, and reclaim my rightful place in the Barnier house. I would no longer be a poor peasant living in the slums. I would have a comfortable life. I obviously wasn't going to agree on the spot. Her story was so blatantly dubious, I needed some time to think on it. If she was telling the truth, though, it could transform our revolution from a dream into a reality. We wouldn't be restricted to inciting inconsequential uprisings. I could seize power legitimately and make some actual change. So I asked the woman to give me some time to consider. "Have you decided what you're going to give her?" That was the very last thing I heard when I stepped through the back door of the brothel. Maria, a short blonde-haired prostitute, and a good friend of mine, flashed me a devilish smirk. "I bought a necklace, as per your suggestion. Girls appreciate that sort of thing, don't they?" "Most do. Me, I've got a taste for knives and other such pointy things. I doubt she has much interest in those, though." Sometimes I wonder if you're actually a girl. Anyone would see that Maria and I were close, but our relationship was strictly platonic. Of course, given her line of work, it was unavoidable that people thought otherwise. And honestly, it irritated me every time someone suggested we were anything more than friends. People have this annoying short-sighted tendency to assume that just because a guy and a girl are friendly, they must be intimate. It didn't matter that she was a girl. I only thought of her as a friend, and as best as I could tell, that's all she thought of me as well. Maria and I first met when we were children. Even at that age, she was already a prostitute, myself a petty thief. We were both incredibly lucky to have survived to adulthood with only ourselves to watch each other's backs. It's possible the only reason either of us maintained the willpower to survive this long was because we had each other to bitch about life to when things got bad. Blah. Sentences. So, is today the day? Are you finally going to tell her how you feel? Excuse me? Tell her how I what? Don't be coy. You know exactly what, and it's about time you manned up and told her. I think you've got a better chance than you think. Do I need to remind you how old she is? 12 as of today. Practically an adult. Ugh. I'm not reading that line. Jeez. You're comparing her to you? The longer you hold off saying something, the more difficult it becomes. Break a leg. Party's gonna be in the back, so there won't be any customers around to interfere. Alright. I chewed over what Maria had said as I watched her disappear down a brothel corridor. She wasn't wrong. She wasn't overanalyzing. I did indeed have special feelings for Morgana. Women seem to have this strange, somewhat terrifying ability to read people's minds, and Maria was a prime example of that. I never once so much as suggested to anyone I might think anything of Morgana, but Maria had somehow managed to pick up on it almost immediately. Fortunately, she didn't seem particularly bothered by the fact. Though, if anyone else were to find out, I could only imagine the looks I would get. I mean, Morgana was 12, and I was 22. Jeez. That wasn't normal. Never felt this way about anyone else that young either. I'm gonna take a drink. Ah. Any other girls Morgana's age just looked like another kid to me. So why was she any different? She was covered in scars, and yet every other time we met, she would tell me to go to hell, and she refused to walk anywhere with me, and no matter how much ice I broke, I could never seem to get all the way through. Yet, still, the world felt like it was just a little bit better a place when I was with her. It made me want to see her smile, no matter how grotesque her face. How would I even go about saying it, assuming I actually did? Even if your face still isn't healed in 4 years, I'll take you as my lifetime partner, Morgana? God, no, that's terrible. There has to be a better way to put it. Now I was getting stressed out, and it was all thanks to Maria. This was supposed to be a day of celebration, not fretting over stupid personal matters. Not long after I arrived at the brothel and made my way to the back room, Maria and I and a handful of other unoccupied girls showed up. Morgana, who was supposed to be the guest of honor, was even more reticent than usual. Reticent?
Reticent.
Reticent. Not revealing one's thoughts or feelings readily. I feel like I might have looked that up before. It's hard to learn new vocab words when you're older. I'm sorry. Not... Morgana, who was supposed to be the guest of honor, was even more reticent than usual. Prostitutes chatted among themselves about work in unabashedly graphic detail, trading info on which customers were good and which customers were bad, all the while Morgana looking incredibly uncomfortable. Oh, that's cool, guys. Way to go. You guys think you could maybe change the subject? Like we have anything else to talk about? Making the birthday girl want to hide in the corner defeats the whole purpose, don't you think? Oh no, don't mind me. I don't have anything I want to talk about, Morgana said in almost a whisper, her head downturned. At least eat something then. The cookies are barely sweetened and dry as rocks, but they're edible. Jacapo, you little bitch. You got some stones to shit-talk my cookies to my face. Stop it, Maria. Stop throwing things at me. The other girls cackled as Maria and I bickered, hoping it might have elicited a reaction from Morgana as well. I snuck a glance over at her, but she remained expressionless. You are right about one thing, though. This is Morgana's day. So let's change the subject. Maria said with a little laugh, having hurled everything within arm's reach at me. Like I said, I don't have anything to talk about. Sure you do. You just have to look a little harder. Not saying you have to reminisce for us. It can be anything. Let's see. Here's an idea. Are there any guys you got your eyes on? I spewed my tea all over the table. There is. And then I started choking. What? Seriously? Holy shit! Who is it? Tell me. Who's the lucky guy? God. Sorry. I don't know if that was supposed to be a punchline, but regardless, it was a really good punchline. Everyone fell silent. Maria gave me a sympathetic look, and I know exactly what she wanted to say. Sorry, kid, you ain't got nothing on God. True. Asshole. If you're gonna dream big, right? Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Pining after the all-powerful, all-knowing God. I'm with you. You bald-faced liar. The grass may be a hell of a lot greener up there, but it's a bit far, don't you think? You're better off settling for the weeds down here. Did she just imply I'm a weed? Is that a weed? I'm calling the police. Maria looked over and gave me a wide grin at the sight of me grinding my teeth, then continued. Say, the young man over there. Wait, stop right there. Don't say another word. Oopsie, me and my big mouth. I almost did your job for you. God damn it, Maria. This was not good. Like hell I was going to let her corner me into saying it here. I stole a glance at Morgana, but her gaze was locked on her knees. I couldn't see what, if any, kind of reaction she was having. Morgana, what she's trying to say is that I have to go. I have to go. What? I have to go to the bathroom. Sure. Morgana got up from her chair and left the room in silence. I imagine I was making a rather flaccid expression because as soon as Morgana was gone, Maria began cackling like a madwoman. My reply was the nearest object, courtesy of my throwing arm. Loser! How hard is it to just say it? It would have been easier if you hadn't cornered me like that. You think I believe you wouldn't have done it without a little nudge? I would have. Eventually. Eventually ain't gonna cut it. Now's the right time. Don't worry, me and the girls won't make fun of you for getting your rocks off to little girls. Okay. Should have read that sentence in my head before I read it out loud. That's not the reason I like her. Besides, I would wait at least 4 years before. Doesn't mean you can't tell her now. I think it'd do her wonders, really. She's, well, you know. So I think knowing someone cares about her will lighten her load a bit. Hi, Lily Hops. How are you doing? How's my little sister, who's definitely not a frog, doing? Sorry, some of the described imagery we're going through might be a little graphic for you. Just fair warning. When she comes back, give her the necklace and tell her how you feel. And if she turns you down, we can all have a good laugh about it. It's okay, I have my blanket, don't worry about it. I mean, there's been some stuff that has made me a little cringe. I mean, cringe a little bit. It didn't make me cringe. I'm always cringe. Maria and a few other girls chuckled. As uncomfortable as she was making me feel, she had a point. Regardless of whether Morgana reciprocated my feelings or not, there was a good chance that just putting them out there would help in breaking down the walls she had built in her heart. And maybe one day, I would actually be able to see her smile. I'll do it. I'll tell her. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Things are about to go real horrible. It didn't matter if I came out looking like a loser. It didn't matter if Morgana wasn't interested in me in that way. What mattered was that she knew someone accepted her regardless of her appearance or the things that she had been through. And if by some chance there really was royal blood flowing through my veins, then I could make good on my promise to show her the world. I could put an end to her life of poverty and abuse, replace it with one of comfort and wealth. I could buy her even better medicine, something that could actually heal her face. If I truly were royalty, I could do so much for her. Makes it sound like I want to be some kind of fairy tale hero or something. But honestly, I wouldn't have minded that. If I was going to make her happy to wipe away all her past misfortune, why couldn't I make it a little dramatic? No, game, stop making me empathize with Jacapo. I don't want to. Gosh dang it. It wasn't usually my style, but in this case, I wouldn't have objected to a storybook ending. It's not gonna happen, dude. This, though. No, this wasn't the kind of story I was hoping for. The heavy curtains separating the guest rooms had been torn to shreds, and they were splattered with blood. A man, apparently caught without enough time to defend himself, lay splayed out naked on a bed, his empty eyes fixed on the ceiling. The whole area reeked of blood. All I could do was stare stupefied at the carnage. What the hell? Why? How could this happen? My dumbfounded muttering went unanswered, though. The few who were still alive could no better make sense of the incomprehensible massacre than me. The sudden arbitrary upheaval of our world. The inexplicable, inescapable reality. Shortly after Morgana stepped out, I heard a woman scream from the front of the brothel. Next, a man shouting. At first, I assumed it was one of the customers losing his temper over something, but the tone of the screams seemed somehow off for something like that. It wasn't long before the noise had escalated to alarming levels, so I dashed toward the source of the shouting. A good dozen men, bandits, or maybe thieves, they seemed more organized, had raided the brothel. They slaughtered all the customers, stripping them of any valuables, and they tied up the girls, killing any who resisted. The first thought that rushed my panicked mind was that I needed to find Morgana. I needed to get her out of here no matter what. I couldn't let her birthday turn into a tragedy. It's a little late for that, dude. She had already been through enough, and I had to make sure she didn't suffer any further. I had to make her life into something good. I searched and I searched as I climbed up the wall. Gosh dang it, cheese! Now is not the time for Sonic references. But there was no sign of Morgana anywhere. Until suddenly something seemed to crash into me from behind, causing me to stagger. It took a few seconds for the pain to set in, which is when I looked down to see the tip of a blade sticking out of my gut. Blood streamed along the metal surface, and there were little bits of flesh caught in the edges. I turned around just in time to see a man holding out to kick me away. And before I had time to process what was happening, I hit the floor and lost consciousness. I didn't even open the door first, just right on the floor. If I were a hero, I could have surely eradicated all the violent intruders in the blink of an eye, saving everyone. Protected that which I wanted to protect. Not had to lose anything. But I was just... Oh, oops. I was just a mere boy. A weak boy, helpless against a few robbers. A useless boy, unable to protect anyone. When I woke up, Maria was kneeling over me, sobbing. No signs of the tough, foul-mouthed girl I knew. Aside from her, there were 2 other girls, also crying, leaving only 4 survivors. Apparently I wasn't dead. Looking down, I saw my bare stomach wrapped in blood-soaked bandages. The brothel lay in ruins, a bloody pile of torn, bleeding clothes and bodies. I made my way back to the front, and all I could do was stare stupefied at the carnage. What the hell? Why? How could this happen? My dumbfounded muttering went unanswered, though. Maria stood beside me, quietly rubbing her trembling arms. Where's Morgana? I couldn't find her. Why not? I'm sorry. I looked everywhere, but I couldn't find her. I'm so sorry. Oh, my water is still here. Gosh dang it. Actually, I'm gonna take another drink. If this game has taught me anything, it's that the more details you get about a story, the more you care about it. Because, like, we already knew the course of events here, but reading is perspective, and, like, it's not the most detailed, but the more details make you care more. It's true. I mean, I kind of knew that in general, but if I didn't, this game's definitely teaching it to me. I wanted to say I wasn't blaming her, but I couldn't find the words. If I had power, I could have prevented this from happening. What kind of power would I have needed, though? The physical strength to overpower the thieves? No, I needed to think bigger. If I weren't a peasant, but someone of real influence and import, no one would dare stand up to me. No petty thieves would ever consider a raid on me. And I would have the power to punish anyone who tried. But regardless, this would never have happened at all. I was supposed to give Morgana a good life, to show her the world, to make her smile. If only I had power. Absolute unflinching power. If I had climbed to the top of the ladder when the chance was offered to me, this all could have been avoided. If only I had asserted my place as royalty a month earlier, as the woman who claimed to be my mother had urged me to. I wanted power. The power to keep everything I cared about safe. The power to change this damned world. The power to stop those filthy thieves. The power to keep her by my side. I wanted power. I heard about the attack on the brothel, and that you were hurt. I'm so glad to see you're well. About a week and a half after the raid, I went to see the woman who had professed herself my mother. As you would expect of someone who had served at the old lord's manor, she was very elegant and graceful. The shack where she stayed, though, was a shabby, drab place with bare wattle and daub wall. Alright, Google. What is wattle?
Wattle.
A material for making fences, walls, consisting of rods or stakes interlaced with twigs or branches. Oh, okay. What does daub mean?
Daub.
Coat or smear with a thick or sticky substance in a carelessly rough or liberal way. She daubed her face with night cream. Is that... Okay. Okay, and Google brings up a result that says wattle and daub, so I guess that's just a thing. Okay. The more you know. Were you concerned about my safety? Of course. Show me a mother who is not always concerned about her child's safety. Says the woman I'd never seen until a month ago. Physical distance has no bearing on a mother's love, she said with a soft smile. Age had clearly begun taking its toll on her, but I could see hints of former beauty. Memories. If I had gone to speak with the Lord and revealed your lineage when I first came to see you, you would have never been in that kind of danger. There is still time. Go to the Lord's manor. Show him. I'm not really your son, am I? The woman fell silent for a moment, observing me. I could see the resemblance between us, yes, and I had no memories of my mother. It would be nice if she were to show back up someday, but it just wasn't likely. This whole thing felt extremely contrived. Discussions will progress much smoother if we both... Oh, wrong voice. Discussions will progress much smoother if we both know what the other wants out of this arrangement. Start by telling me who you really are. Were you actually a maidservant for the previous lord? She gave a nod, then walked over to a grimy shelf and retrieved a ring that looked very much out of place. It was made of gold, engraved with an elaborate insignia. Look at this. It's the Barnier family crest. The previous lord gave me the ring as a gift, and I've kept it ever since, even after our relationship was discovered and I was chased out. I didn't sell it because I knew I was with child. They will have no choice but to acknowledge you as legitimate heir if you show them this ring. Why did you wait so long to come find me then? I was afraid they might kill you if I brought you in as a baby. Why were we separated? Misfortune. One day bandits came and kidnapped you. Presumably they were hired by the Barnier estate because they didn't want your existence to come to light. I consider it a miracle you're still alive. I'm not smelling what this lady's stepping in. I'm not buying what she's selling. I can only imagine the stern look on my face as I listened to the woman speak. Part of me did indeed want to take everything she said as true. Wanted to believe I was someone important. But I couldn't convince myself I had anything other than a commoner's blood running through my veins. It would appear you've done your research. I don't have any other family, to the best of my knowledge, which does indeed make me a good candidate for you to step in and claim your stake on. If I were to guess, your child with the Lord has either passed away or never existed at all. It's probably true that you worked at the Barnier's manor, and it's probably true that you had relationships with the former Lord. You were chased out, and now you live in poverty. You want to go back to your former, more comfortable life while you're at it? And while you're at it, take vengeance on the current Lord. But being a woman, you have no means to accomplish that by yourself. So you came up with the idea of using a fake son. So if your child were still alive, he would be right about my age, wouldn't he? And we look similar enough for you to convincingly claim we're related. But the biggest reason you chose me is because I'd made something of a name for myself. Because I was one of the people involved in the inciting revolt 3 years ago. The perfect choice to spearhead a revolution. How dramatic. The man who set the Lord's slaves free was secretly his family. The people would eat it right up. So how far off am I? For some time the woman sat in silence. Eventually she broke it, not by yelling in anger or desperately trying to refute me, but with a smile. I knew very well what lurks behind that smile, too. Scorn. You're sharp for a filthy peasant. It would seem I chose wisely. You didn't have to say it like that, lady. I was right. She was a manipulative, conniving shyster. Is that a swear word?
Shyster.
A person, especially a lawyer, who uses unscrupulous, fraudulent, or deceptive methods in business. I don't think it's a swear word. It just sounds very similar to the S word. But that I could work with. That fits so much better. I wasn't royalty. I wasn't a hero. I was a filthy peasant. I'm in. The first thing I did after agreeing to work with the woman was not to approach the Lord, but to reveal my false lineage to my accomplices. They all thought I was joking until I showed them the ring. Water. Boy, I gotta go to the bathroom again, but I'll try to find a good stopping point first. To BRB at. Then their dreams of revolution started seeming far more realistic. Maria was the one exception. No, not only did she not believe me, she tried to stop me from going through with the scheme. Haven't you had enough danger for one life? Come on, forget about all this revolution stuff. We can build up a new brothel and just stay low for the rest of our days. Does that really sound so bad? You're the only friend I've got left, Jacapo, she said somewhat desperately. I sympathized with her concerns, but I didn't want to let this chance to gain some real power slip away. I was done having things taken away from me. Okay, faded out and fade back in. That's a good time for a BRB. Sorry, I'm going to make you watch a commercial. BRB. I did also take the liberty of doing some stretches. I have been sitting in this chair, what, 8 hours now? 8.5 hours? So yeah, I took the liberty of doing some stretches. Should probably think about wrapping this up soon. Hear me, my fellow citizens, who live in suffering at the hands of your supposed lord. Within me flows the blood of the previous lord. I am the rightful heir. Behold the Barnier's golden ring, proof that I am of noble birth, victims of this terrible tyrant. The time has come to start anew, and I shall be the one to lead you down that path. The poor, the hungry, the deprived, all of you stand with me. My call to arms stoked the flames in the people's hearts. When the assault on the Lord's Manor began, they were an inferno of righteous justice. No one was thinking straight. I was about the only one with something resembling a clear head amidst the chaos. If I were really a hero, then I would have rejoiced in that glorious day, not glamorous, that momentous turning point in the city's history. I would have been honored to have led the charge. But this was all about one woman's avarice and desire for vengeance. I always forget. Did I look up avarice earlier today? I already forgot its definition. It's fine. It's fine. This was all about one man's lamentation of his own weakness. I wasn't moved by the desire to help these people. The Lord, backed into a corner, begged for his life. I decapitated him, then held his severed head up for the people. Their cheers and shouts filled the air. Well, good, because that was Morgana's original captor. He deserves bad things. As I watched them rejoice, I wondered, was this the future that awaited me? Would the people come after me next? Was my head going to be the one in their hands one day? Not if you're good! But you're not going to be good, are you? The king and the other counts acknowledged my royalty, though it was less because I had Barnier's ring and more because they thought it was the best way to prevent things from getting any messier. So with their approval, I formally became the lord of the land. I also assumed the former lord's name because despite his reputation with his people, it was a name people knew, and one that held far more clout than my own. What, you don't like Berzati? And just like that, my longtime dream of power had come true. That said, simply becoming the Lord didn't mean everything had fallen neatly into place. Many of the local noble families accused me of acquiring my rank illegitimately. They waited, fangs bared, for me to slip up. They even tried to set me up on more than one occasion. I couldn't trust anyone. On top of that, if I took too long making the improvements I had promised to the people, they would start saying I was as much of a tyrant as the previous lord. There was only so much I could do at once, though, especially with my hands. With my hands so full fending off the vulturous nobles. You know, honestly, I haven't been having that many verbal slip-ups today in terms of, like, flubbing words. So yeah, we're 8.5 hours in. I can muddle words. It's allowed. Stop judging me. Exhaustion soon began to set in. This wasn't the world I was looking for. What I wanted to show Morgana. Sorry, you're done being a sympathetic character. It is allowed. Thank you, Lily. It was day after draining day of betrayal, constantly having to look over my shoulder, fighting to meet unrealistic expectations. I was starting to lose sight of who I was as a person. I couldn't let anyone see me looking weak. They would see it as an opportunity to take advantage of me, to manipulate me, to eliminate me. I needed power to protect myself from those people. Attaining rank was only the first step. I needed even more power. Enough to ensure no one would ever be giving me orders, could ever play me for a fool. I turned my attention first to bolstering the economy. I provided I'm trying to say subsidiaries, but that's not right because it's subsidies to merchants in the cities. Diction is done with the tip of the tongue. She sells seashells by the seashore. One smart fellow, he felt smart. One smart fellow, he felt smart. One smart fellow, he felt smart. Okay. Subsidies to the merchants in the city. I expanded trade routes. I made it known that people of any skin color, even those not welcome in other territories, were welcome in my land, trying to bring some vitality to the city. The previous lord had evidently loved to throw parties, squandering away nearly all the tax money of his own on his own entertainment. If he had left me any more to work with, I would have used it to clean up and repair the slums. But for the time being, I had to remain another item on the checklist. I needed more money flowing through the city as a whole before I could make any headway on fixing the poorer areas. Helping the people who needed it most quickly became a secondary objective. I'm not sure when the Italian accent is going to come back. Probably when he shows up on screen next. Or we get some background besides the greenish-gray void. Gotta say, for such a significant portion of the story, they sure didn't feel like making too many visual aids for it, huh? Maybe we'll go back over it in more in-depth detail later, just like everything else that happens in this story. Ugh, I'm not complaining. I'm not. I am. I had a pretty good idea what my former accomplices still in the slums were saying about me. He used us, I could practically hear them whispering. Some of them even started publicly slandering me in an attempt to undermine my authority, claiming I wasn't suited to be in a position of power because I had spent most of my life in the slums. It wasn't long before they had convinced the people I was just another tyrant. I had hoped that they, if no one else, would have sympathized with my position, realized that I had every intention of helping them, and that I simply didn't have the resources for it yet. But no one saw what I was doing. No one believed me, even when I tried to explain. In one case, I invited an old companion up to my manor to discuss matters, but the meeting only turned into an attempt on my life. Having absolutely no one I could trust, no one I could call an ally, hit me a lot harder than I had expected. It twisted my worldview beyond recognition. I had no need for sympathy. I couldn't show care for anyone. Otherwise, someone would inevitably use it against me, old friends and strangers alike. In fact, those who knew me best, those who were aware of where I had come from and what I had been before, we were the ones who fought the hardest to tear me. I can't read. Were the ones. Where I come from, what I had been before, were the ones who fought the hardest to tear me down. Did I even read that wrong in the first place? I'm losing my mind. Rules needed to be created. Punishments established. I couldn't allow anyone to take this power from me. Anyone who so much as suggested I had come from the slums. Anyone who dared disrespect me had to be eliminated. All threats exterminated before they could reach me. Somewhere along the line, I had lost sight of my original dream. Lost all my desire to do right by the people I cared about. Hell, I didn't have anyone to do right by anymore. Why did I need to climb to the top of the ladder? So no one could kill me. Why did I want money? so no one could mock me. Why did I want power? So no one could oppose me. 4 years passed, and I found myself in a very, very distant place. Miracle blood sounds like a sham to me. You never know. They say the sound of her first cry brought rain to the land where she was born, saving the whole village from drought. And they say her blood has the power to cure any disease. One day, a curious rumor came to my attention. The kind of whispering I wouldn't usually put much stock into. It was said that there was a witch living in a cottage by the lake. Few had ever seen her face, but they claimed she had the same voice as a girl who had supposedly performed miracles several years earlier in a faraway village. The people love their stories of heroes and miracles. And if I could show some support for the churches, then maybe people would stop complaining I was focusing too much on the economy. So I devised a plot to capture the witch and make use of her miracle blood. You see, alright. You've lost me. You lost the sympathy that you had garnered. It's gone. I would establish a new church. Have it be run by a nun the city had been fawning over for some time. They called her the Saintess. There I would take the witch's blood, call it miracle medicine, distributing it in exchange for tithes, which people would certainly come for in droves. And if the blood somehow did happen to have special power, then that would make the scheme that much more effective. Okay. I was expecting some detail on, like, his hand being forced somehow into, like, it's just something he came up with. Jacapo! Why? I want to like you, but I can't. I don't like this. I'll worry about the veracity of rumors later. Right now, all I want is for you to capture her and bring her to me. I was too busy to handle capturing the witch myself, so I went and found someone to handle it for me. He was a former slave who had several years back massacred an entire carriage of slaves and the slave traders transporting them. Obviously not an upstanding citizen, but there was little doubt he would have any trouble apprehending a single witch. The biggest reason I chose him, though, was because he was enamored with the nun. Honestly, I thought it was rather hilarious, a murderer falling in love with a nun. That is kind of funny. You know, in a sick, twisted way. I had been expecting the man to object, but he agreed almost without hesitation. There was a mansion on the outskirts of the city, which the previous lord had built for himself, and had gone unused since his death. It was there I decided to keep the witch, and it was there I decided to establish the church. The nun would have ample space there to provide temporary shelter to the sick and needy. I thought, with what little remained of my conscience, that I was doing the right thing. If one witch, probably an old woman at that, was all it cost to accomplish such good, then a worthy sacrifice it was. Nah, dude. No. Don't even start with me. In an ideal world, it wouldn't matter young or old. A human being was an acceptable price for anything. But this was far from an ideal world. So I decided that taking what little remained of this woman's life was best. No, the only acceptable course of action. Uh-huh. You're deranged. She would probably despise me for it. And I would gladly accept her hatred in exchange for the benefits her blood would bring the city. It's our responsibility to offer a helping hand to the sick and the poor, to pray for the abandoned souls. Oh, that was Morgana's words. Should not have said those in Jacapo's voice. I'll try again. It's a responsibility to offer a helping hand to the sick and the poor, to pray for the abandoned souls. Morgana's words from years ago popped into my head. I believe that, as aggressive, self-centered, and utterly lacking in compassion as my methods may have been, I was following that mantra. Do you? Do you believe that? I was offering a helping hand to people who needed it in the only way I knew how. Is that really the only way you know how? For real now? I wasn't so dense as to think she would approve of me making an old woman pay the price of my charity, though. Doing this made me no better than a thug. A lot worse than a thug, dude. But everything has a price. For every extravagant feast held, a dozen people go the night without food. That's simply the way of the world. I was no god. I was no saint. I had blood on my hands. I was a villain. I knew no way to accomplish good without doing bad. After the swordsman departed, I took some time to myself. I filled a goblet with water, smelled it, then gave it to my pet dog before gulping down the rest of it. Wait, you gave some to your dog first? That's unsanitary. Are you still out there somewhere, Morgana? What would you think of me if you saw what I had become? Several days later than originally planned, the swordsman finally arrived at the mansion. I had chosen the observation tower on the grounds for the witch's prison, and it was there I waited for him. He showed up with a burlap sack swung over his shoulder, setting it down on the ground, saying, "There's your witch." I could only hear a muffled grunting from inside the sack, and it didn't sound like an old woman inside. The man's clothes and the bag both reeked of blood. Tell me you didn't harm her, dog. I smell blood. He only instructed me not to kill her. Mistakes were made, limbs were lost. I cleaned up all the blood I got on me. No one suspects anything. That you were able to immediately recognize it as the smell of blood says quite a bit, Lord. You have killed before, haven't you? Enough yapping! She is alive, yes? Of course. I felt a tinge of guilt for the woman, but it didn't last long. Her role in my scheme and the fate that awaited her was the same regardless of the condition she arrived in. I tossed my gaze from the man to the bag. He crouched down to tie it, revealing a young girl. Yeah, I hope it rips your heart out, Jacapo. With one arm severed. As soon as I saw her, I knew exactly who the girl was. But why? What was she doing in the bag? Why was she the lakeside witch? What was she doing here? Why was she so pale and shaking? Why had I ordered her captured? How could I have done that? Yeah, it's pretty messed up. How could I have let this happen to her? Morgana. My voice was hoarse and rattling. She looked up at me, her face just as disfigured and hideous as it had been 4 years before. My mind flashed back to her birthday, to when I had considered offering to take her as my lifetime partner if her face hadn't healed in 4 years' time. Is that you? Oh, that's her. Is that you? Her question yanked me out of my memories. You remember me? Did Morgana remember me? The 3 years we had spent together. What kind of person had I been? I had been the boy who had refused to give up putting ointment on her face. Those horribly unromantic encounters at the graveyard. Her taking shots at me taking shots at her. Verbal shots, I should clarify. All that time we shattered. How could I ever forget? Morgana, she remembered me? How could I ever forget all the pain and humiliation you put me through? How could I ever forget the blood sweats you loved to hold? What was she talking about? Haven't had enough, have you? Leaving scars on every inch of my body wasn't enough for you? You haven't had your fill of my blood? No, that wasn't me. I was the one who had tried to heal those wounds. You're the man who bound me, cut me up, called me a witch, and tried to kill me. I haven't forgotten you, even for a moment. No, Morgana. I was the man who rescued you from him. Well, you might want to think about rescuing again, Jacapo. Oh, wait, you're not going to. Because you're terrible. I don't know how much my father preaches. I don't care how much my father preaches forgiveness. That's the one thing you'll never get from me. I despise you with all of my soul. I revile you with every fiber of my being. For every scar you gave me, I give you a lifetime of hatred. No, Morgana. I was not aware you knew the Witch Lord. His voice made my blood run cold. I didn't just know her. Morgana was... This man, the Lord, he destroyed me, mind and body. No, that was another man. He was already dead. I had just taken his place. I had come from the slums. I had been part of the slaves' revolt. I knew I had to tell her. He ruined my life! But between the stings of Morgana's accusations and my need to protect my current position, I couldn't muster the strength to do it. Boo! 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 No. You want sympathy here, you're not getting it, Jacapo. If someone were to find out I wasn't legitimate royalty, that I had come from the slums, then everything I'd worked so hard to build up for who, though, would come crumbling down. Do I really think it hasn't already? All I had left was my power, my rank. Is that what I actually wanted? I couldn't afford to lose that too. When did I first start straying from the path? Yes, I know her. Or I knew her years ago. I see what you want to do then, Lord. You look sick. This doesn't change anything. We lock the witch up and proceed as planned. Why? Why couldn't I tell her the truth? How? How could I keep her imprisoned? What did I wanted the power for in the first place? Would anyone ever believe me? If I said this wasn't how I wanted things to turn out? No. Actually. Would anyone ever believe me? Is this Michelle or Jacapo? Before me floats a man, twisted and writhing in pain. Although whether... I think this is Jacapo. Whatever, I'm gonna go with young Jacapo. Before me floats a man, twisted and writhing in pain. Although whether what I'm looking for could be said to resemble a human is a difficult question. It's a hazy, indistinct shape, on the precipice of being consumed by darkness everlasting. I know very well what I'm looking at. The moment before a man's soul shatters. Did I do the same thing to him that Morgana did to me? Oh, this is Michelle. Was it I who summoned the darkness? Who laid his past bare? Who forced him to relive those events? To experience once more everything he felt, everything he thought? Who put him through that despair a second time? I can only imagine how he must have felt, causing someone he once cared for so much pain. The things he did are abhorrent, more than deserving of reproach. and it would undoubtedly be easier for him to simply vanish into the eternal abyss. But I can't allow that to happen. He still has work to do. His story is essential. It's almost certain Morgana didn't know who he really was. He needs to face her, to reveal the truth with his own words. That's the only way we're going to get her to have a change of heart. That's not all he has to say to her either. So I must bring him back, pull him out of the darkness. I grab the man by the arm and begin scouring the blackness for an exit. After some time, I see a speck glistening high above, so I make my way upwards, back into the harsh light of the real world. The darkness parts, and we re-emerge in the dimming hall. The man is still straddling me, dagger held above his head, just as he had been before our trek into his past. His eyes are open wide, and his hand is trembling. A few moments later, his fingers go slack, and the blade slips from his grasp, piercing the wood floor by my face. Good thing he missed. Hey, what was that? I swear I saw some kind of black cloud or something. Oh, you didn't actually see the vision? What happened to you two? Neither of you saw any of that? Saw what? Evie, are you still here? If you are, am I even remotely close to the end of the game? Please and thank you. If you didn't see anything, then don't worry about it. That necklace. That must have been the key to unlocking his memories. Like when I touched the mirror in the mansion. I have no idea why certain objects show me different memories. But I got what I needed, I think. I'm fairly certain the white-haired girl is Morgana now. Things Jacapo did to her and fell for her behind the third door. I have much in common with him and Morgana in this life. That face looks more like he's grossed out than, like, traumatized. I don't know. Why did you dig that up? How the hell did you do that? Why did you show me my former self? Why did you make me watch that? Why didn't you tell her? Had you only opened your mouth and told Morgana the truth, told her you weren't the previous lord, told her who you really were, things could have turned out differently. Turned out differently how? Knowing would have only worsened her pain. Well, you could have, like, opted out of the whole imprison her and drain her blood plan. You could have done that. Stupid. Yes, you're exactly right. The man who once saved her life is now the source of all her misery. How would knowing that do anything but cause her more despair? The least you could have done was let her go free. Jackass. I'd already put money into setting up the church here. Their arm had been cut off. There was no turning back. Sure there was. You can't go back from that. You could have, yes. You could have stopped then and there. Don't act like you know anything. Couldn't possibly comprehend the weight on my shoulders, you dirty penitent. Oh, shut up! You're right, I can't, and I'll be damned if I want to. To hell with understanding the feelings of a man who could so easily lose sight of what mattered the most for a little power. Money, power. That's not what you really want to hold dear. So why couldn't you let go of that? Why did you have to go and let what mattered most slip through your fingers? Had he done anything, it wouldn't have come to this. Yeah. I couldn't have people knowing where I came from. I needed wealth, rank. No, you didn't need any of that. So I know it's a little preemptive of me, but I think the reason why some people like Jacapo is because they give him the Kiritsugu complex of like, I'll do anything to save the world at any personal cost. I don't care what close friends I have to kill if it's to save the world. Phase Zero spoilers. I am assuming they're assigning that complex to Jacapo, and that's why they think what he did was reasonable. But I'm gonna go ahead and disagree on that. Besides, I'm more of a Shiro fan. Do you have any idea how much Morgana treasured her time with you and Maria? Do you know how she described that period as one of the brightest chapters in her life? Those 3 years she spent in the brothel until it was attacked. She said that was where she learned how to find joy in life. Enough. She would never say any of that. Why do you refuse to believe me? She never opened up to anybody. That's all just your fantasy. What you want to see in her. You're trying to convince me of something that was never there. Okay, but buddy, you fell in love with her never opening up to anybody. So, like, why is it so strange to you? No, I think he's right, Lord. I believe she did feel that way. The day I killed that carriage full of slaves 4 years ago. This girl you're talking about, she was there. What? That can't... And she said this to me before I began my massacre. I'm sad because I didn't get the chance to show my gratitude to people very dear to me. She was crying as she did. So that's who she was talking about. It was you. There's no way. When exactly did the brothel attack 4 years ago take place? It was the winter. See, that's pretty exact. Winter 4 years ago is when I met the girl too. That reminds me. She mentioned something unpleasant happened to her 4 years ago during one of our conversations. That wasn't the right accent. That she was forced to part ways with the people who taught her that humans are capable of kindness. She was talking about you. Again, that face does not really look that pained. It looks like he's more grossed out by something like, ew, cockroach. The heck? There's still time. You can still set Morgana free. You can still reveal your true self to her. She was likely in shock that day, not seeing or thinking straight. She still thinks you're someone else. Hearing you were the Lord, it set something off inside her, preventing her from seeing who you really were. Her time in the previous Lord's captivity left scars even deeper than she knew. So all it took was one word, and in her eyes you became him. Which isn't to say you haven't caused her much pain yourself, but I still believe your truth is the key to allaying her hatred. It will change your perception of the world. I'm certain of it. So please, release Morgana and spill your heart for her. I was planning to end it all with the Harvest Festival. Oh, freaking sure. Freaking sure you were. What? I was already planning to set her free then. I knew damn well it was much too little, much too late, but I needed an excuse to face her. some occasion to give me that last nudge. So I told myself that's going to be the day. That's when I'm going to do it. But you had to show up out of nowhere, digging up my past, throwing all my plans out the window. You still think I'm the reason your carefully laid plans fell apart? I'll let her go during the Harvest Festival. Tomorrow she goes free. Tomorrow is too late. What difference does it make? When the bell tolls noon, the day of the Harvest Festival, Morgana dies. I've had more than enough of your so-called prophecies. I'm done. Are you kidding? After what happened, are you... There's only so hard-headed you can be, Jacapo. Come on. Why do you still refuse to believe me? I'm not making anything up. I'm from the future. I know how this ends. Having an occasion and a plan can certainly make it easier to take action, but you can't wait for the right occasion for everything. Sometimes if you don't act on something as soon as you've decided to do it, you'll miss your chance. In your next life, you'll make the same mistakes. You lock someone up that you care about, eventually causing her to break down entirely. And you're so fixated on waiting for the right occasion, you completely destroy any chance of salvaging anything. If you're set on releasing her, then release her! Jacapo! Stop being so damn fixated on your occasions already! Enough. Damn you. You're right. You don't have to tell me I'm being a fool. Apparently we do, though. I'll do it. Right now, I'll do it. I'll release her. Thank you for making up your mind. I didn't make the lock require 3 keys, because the weight was too much to bear alone. It was because having others with me would force me to keep up the Lord facade, to prevent me from letting anything slip. Or maybe I was just waiting, hoping someone would betray me, make me pay. Uh-huh. Pathetic, I know. You can have the necklace. It belongs to you. Though I doubt Morgana will accept it. I hope you'll still attempt to give it to her yourself. Will you do that? Where did you get that anyway? Dang, that necklace is so important. I'm surprised it didn't show up, like, way earlier in the story. Or maybe it did, and it seemed insignificant, so it completely escaped my mind. I'm not saying it had to have, I'm just saying I'm surprised. Because this game's pretty good with its foreshadowing. From Maria. I thought she would have thrown it out by now. I assume she doesn't think very highly of me. Be honest with me. She was planning to kill you. Ah. Maybe that would have been for the best. To her, I'm nothing but a power-hungry traitor. The necklace. I'll take it. Here you are. So when I started the stream today, I said I wanted to get through Bestia's and Jacapo's stories and then finish it next time, but I feel like we're so close to the end. Maybe this time we're close to the end. When he takes the necklace, Jacapo looks as though he's on the verge of tears. Whether from the pressure of not wanting to lose face, or simply because he's no longer able to, he doesn't actually shed any, though. The other two just stand and watch him quietly. Neither of them saw the vision of his past, but they don't pry either. Our exchange was probably sufficient to give them an idea of what happened, even if they don't know the details. Clutching the necklace in one hand, Jacapo takes up the head of the procession to the observation tower. And while it lasts but for a brief moment, I see an image of the young man he used to be in his slightly slouched shoulders. Slightly slouched shoulders, slightly slouched shoulders, slightly slouched shoulders. Hey, Michael, how's it going? Okay, bye.